Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back in Rochester. And it's always a challenge getting up after Howard Zemsky. It keeps you on your toes, because you don't know where he's going or what he might say. They say I shake my head. He said I was shaking my head when he was speaking. People say to me, you know, can you talk to Howard about some of the things he says? I said, nope. No, he's a self-made man. I pay him $1 a year. Can't fire him. He's trying to get me to fire him, but I won't fire him. We just were at the opening of the National Comedy Center in Jamestown. They've worked on it for 20 years. Howard got up. We were supposed to be doing the ribbon cutting, and took about 30 minutes explaining how they should change the Comedy Center if they wanted it to be really funny. He's got a great sense of humor, but he's extraordinary when it comes to economic development. What he has done for this state has been a true gift. To Mayor Lovely Warren, thank you for your leadership and your energy. She's doing a great job. Let's give her a round of applause. County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for all that you do. Bob Duffy, who I miss very much every day, was a great public servant and is still serving Rochester. God bless you. Senator Joe Roback, pleasure to be with you, my colleague. And that leaves former Assemblyman, current Assemblyman Joe Morelli. Now, people say to me, don't applaud yet. People say, I can't believe Joe Morelli is leaving Albany. I thought you guys were friends. I said, yeah, I thought so too, for like 30 years. And I understand you want to make a greater contribution in public service, and to heck with your friends and your colleagues and all your connections, you leave them behind. He's my most trusted friend in the legislature, but who am I and what difference does that make? So I can understand why our personal relationship was just meaningless when he made this decision to pursue Congress. I understand that. What I don't understand is why you would want to leave a functioning, responsible body to go down to a cauldron of gridlock and partisan mess. That's what I don't understand. But if there's anyone who can make it work better, it's Joe Morelli. God bless you, Joe. And to Adam Bello, let's give him a round of applause. And a special thank you to Hilda Rosario Escher, who serves on the ESD board, and then she has been doing double duty. We have an ongoing effort in Puerto Rico, and she has been fantastic. So thank you very much. As usual, Howard said everything that I was going to say, so let me just say it a little differently. The Rochester is doing great. And today, I think we take a very important step. I did work at Housing and Urban Development for 8 years, and we did economic development strategies and community development strategies all across the country. The one cardinal rule was when you're doing community development, economic development, you build on your assets. And the greatest asset you can have is to be on the waterfront. Water is just a magnet. People just love it. It attracts people. And you look at the turnaround economic development cities or regions, it's always around the water. And it's hard because literally you have to take the city and you have to turn it around, because the rivers were the back door to the city, right? That's where the goods came in and the factories were located. And you have to turn that city around so the river becomes the front door. and that's now the entrance way, and that's the recreation way, and that's where the restaurants are located, etc. But Baltimore Inner Harbor was one of the first, and it's really how they turned around Baltimore. Chicago Navy Pier was key to turning that city around. New York City, the whole west side turned into the Hudson Park and cleaned up the whole west side, canal side in Buffalo. So it is a natural. And ROC the Riverway goes right to that strength and that intelligence. And it was a great vision, it was a great plan. We committed $50 million, but we wanted to see exactly what the projects were, because you have a concept, and you can have a nice concept, but then the question is, what is the practical implementation? And the committee came together, and they did a great job. And we are here today to tell you that we're going to honor our $50 million commitment, because we are honorable people. And the proposal was extraordinary. And we're going to fund the first 13 projects that make up the heart of the effort. We'll start with a $4.5 million to restore the historic Broad Street Aqueduct and make it a year-round public venue that will bring people to the waterfront. $1.5 million to create opportunity for outdoor library rooms, cafe spaces at the Rundell Library North Terrace. $6 million to renovate the Blue Cross Arena at the War Memorial and connect it to the riverfront. $5 million to transform the Rochester Riverside Convention Center into a premier venue. $20 million to re-energize the civic waterfront assets between Main Street and Andres Street, including Charles Carroll Park and the Sister Cities Bridge. 1.3, a riverfront promenade on Front Street. $1 million, outdoor skate park, which Howard wanted to do, but I'd say it's his hipster self. Did the skate park. $2 million to bring new life to the Genesee Gateway Park and turn it into an urban waterfront. $250,000 to bring Cornhill navigation and bring that tourism element back to the waterfront. $4 million for the Pont de Reine Bridge, which will be renovated. $500,000 to preserve the running track bridge. $1 million to improve High Falls Terrace. They will all be linked together by the Genesee Riverway Trail, and we're putting in place a downtown riverfront management entity that is going to coordinate all these activities and the marketing and the development. So, congratulations. And my last point is, a day like today, a project as big as this project with this success, you really have to take a step back and appreciate what you have done and the progress you have made. I remember when I first met Bob Duffy when he was mayor and I was Attorney General of New York, and Bob would go on about how the state was just nowhere to be found. And he needed a partner. He needed a partner. Why? Because you want to redevelop a city, you have all these ideas, all these dreams, what you could do with the riverfront, what you could do to attract business. But somebody has to be there to give you the investment capital to partner to do it. You need some place to start. And even if you have the energy and the ideas, who's going to help fund them? And this state was just absent. They were not there, and Bob would tell me stories about how we would go. They wouldn't even talk to him. They wouldn't listen. They wouldn't call back. And that was true all across upstate. Albany was myopically focused on New York City. That's the God's honest truth. It was just about New York City, and upstate New York just didn't register on their screen. The plan for Buffalo, the revitalization plan for Buffalo, when I was at HUD, New York State came in with representatives of Buffalo to talk about their economic development vision. Now, I was the HUD secretary, so I was talking to cities and states all across the country, and they all had these grand visions, and New York comes in to talk about Buffalo. What was their grand vision? To incentivize a Bass Pro Shop to come and locate on the waterfront, what they now call Canal Side. I said, and? That was it. That was the plan, to bring a Bass Pro Shop. I love Bass Pro Shops. I love to fish. I go there. But what is that? That's 15 clerk jobs at a Bass Pro Shop? How is a Bass Pro Shop an economic development strategy? And that was it. That was it. And it was that way for Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. And the reason why Bob ran for lieutenant governor with me the first time was just to get upstate on the screen. And just to say to Albany and state government, we need a partner. We did that. This administration has invested over $36 billion in upstate New York, the greatest investment of any administration in the history of the state of New York. Over $1 billion for the Finger Lakes Forward Awards alone. And it is working. It is working, and you have to appreciate that. You know, for many decades, really, upstate New York was stagnant. That is over. Things are happening. If I said to you, we're going to build you a new Rochester airport, you would have said it's never going to happen. We're doing it. A new strong museum. We're going to make Eastman Kodak Business Park actually work. We're going to bring in photonics, hundreds of new jobs and new companies. And we're going to turn around the demographics where young people are going to come back. I mean, that would be unheard of. Young people have been leaving upstate New York for the past 40 years. And we've turned that around, and young people are now coming back. And these things are happening. And as they happen, there's a synergy among them. And there's a catalytic effect. So ROC the Riverway works with the strong museum, works with the new airport, works with the new train station, and one builds on the other. And that energy comes together. And that's what you're feeling in Rochester. And that's what you have to appreciate, and that's what you have to communicate, because it is infectious. And growth begets growth. And success begets success. And that is the road you are on, and it's proud to be part of it. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mayor Lovely Warren.
Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Let's give him another big round of applause. So excited to welcome you back to Rochester to announce the ROC the Riverway projects. I want to thank Bob Duffy, Ann Kress, Howard Zimsky, Vinny Esposito, our state representative, Joe Morelli, Joe Robach, our leaders on City Council, Council President Loretta Scott, members of City Council, Adam Bello, our county executive. We are so excited about this particular project. I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of making this project happen, from the committee that worked so very hard, that met for many hours, over months, that conducted many community meetings. Let's give them a big round of applause. A special thanks to our City Hall team, Kevin Kelly, Commissioner Norm Jones, Bergman Associates, the countless hours that you spent in bringing this concept to the state. We truly appreciate each and every one of you at City Hall. Let's give City Hall a round of applause. So when I was a kid, my sister, cousins, and I, we would go down to Genesee Riverbank and play along the trails of the Genesee Valley Park. We would ride our bikes for miles. along the canal and share adventures, lifelong adventures that we now talk about with our children. Standing here today announcing the first phase of this project is about creating a legacy that can be passed on from one generation to another and building a heritage that the children of Rochester can be proud of. You see, in 1985, it was then Governor Mario Cuomo that stood on these grounds and opened the door to new possibilities for the home of Kodak, Xerox, and Bausch & Lomb by building this convention center. And now, over 30 years later, today stands his son, Governor Andrew Cuomo, opening up new doors of possibility to the home of Datto, CGI, Brand Networks, LiveTiles, NextCorp, Rochester Regional, University of Rochester, RIT, MCC, 16 other colleges and universities that surround our region, along with thousands of companies that are investing in our community because of his help. Thank you, Governor. You see, Rochester is no longer a company city. We are a city of companies, and it is thanks to the millions and billions of dollars that have been invested by the state of New York and in this region. I also want to take an opportunity to thank Governor Cuomo for his compassion and his support for our citizens in Puerto Rico. Since the island has been damaged, we have had over 3,000 people move to our region. And with the state's assistance and partnership with Hilda and Ibero, the city, and other providers, we have been able to help them transition seamlessly into our community. When you've lost everything and have nowhere to turn, it's nice to know that you have a friend in Governor Cuomo who's willing to lend a helping hand. So as he's rebuilding New York from city to city, investing in businesses, company to company, rebuilding housing, neighborhood by neighborhood, and lifting up our citizens, person by person, we say thank you, and we stand with you. Today's announcement will allow us to bring our community together around the power of the Genesee, to rebuild, to reinvest, and to reignite our Riverway, so that my child, our children, will say that when help came, we accepted. When we had the opportunity to stand up for people, we did. And when we needed to rock the Riverway, we did. Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Thank you, Rochester. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Rochester's favorite son, the leader of the Chamber of Commerce, and also co-chair of the Regional Council, Bob Duffy.
First of all, I want to thank Mayor Warren, and I have a number of thank yous to Mayor Warren and her leadership on this project. It's unsurpassed. And she mentioned it, but the Mayor and her city team were absolutely outstanding with this whole project. And that the talent that she has led and has under her command has just been extraordinary. I want to thank the Mayor and the great City Hall team for the efforts of this project. I want to thank Howard Zemsky and the great Empire State Development Team, and Vinny Esposito, Regional Director, was mentioned. Vinny worked with us every day in this project, but to Howard and ESD and everybody on the Empire State Development Team, thank you. A great collection of teamwork, and I want to just put in the hours they put in. The support was unsurpassed. I want to thank all of them, and thank you very much. Nothing happens without the help of our legislature and support of the governor, so I want to thank Majority Leader Joe Morelli and Senator Joe Robach and their respective teams, the Assembly and the Senate, for what they have done. Always there, always involved with projects, always supporting things, getting things done, and deserve a lot of credit for this project and everything else we've seen so far. So thank you both for that. And to all elected officials, county executive and all elected chair, I thank all of them in City Council. I'm going to just segue into the next part. This project, when the governor announced that Ann Kress and I would be co-chairing it, we all had plenty to do, so I took a deep breath. And then going into this is one of the most extraordinary projects I've ever had the pleasure of being around and people I've worked with. And I want to recognize them by name because these folks have volunteered their time. They got paid less than $1 a year than Howard Zemsky. They got nothing for this. But this is, I'm going to have them, whoever's here, I want them to stand. I'm going to start with the great president of Monroe Community College, Ann Kress. I'm going to have her stand. And please stay standing. We're good. Lisa Barron from Utopia. Clement Chung, who is a past president of ROC City Coalition. Clement. Veronica Dasher from RG&E. I'm not sure if Jim is here. Jim Howell from Nature Conservancy. I think he had a conflict. He might not be here. Norm Jones from the city of Rochester. A great leader. Nicole Malik from Constellation Brands. Eugenio Marlin from Ibero-American Development Corporation. Mary Beth Pop from North American Breweries. Heidi Zimmermeyer from the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation. And don't sit down yet. I just want to say this. Not only did they meet and go to meetings. Oh, that guy. I'm here. Sean Dunwoody. I went right over from Dunwoody Visual Consulting, who I'm going to give Sean personal credit for the skate park project because he was the voice over and over and over again. And I'm doing this without glasses, so I apologize, Sean, but please stay standing. This team not only spent countless hours on this project, we had meetings, we had public meetings, but what they did do was they went out sometimes on their own and met with various constituencies, neighborhood residents to make sure voices were heard over and over again. It might be 2 or 3 going out, but the time they put in really led to this success. And we owe them all a great debt of gratitude, so thank you all. And a special thank you to Sean. Thank you very much. Now, the last part, I'm going to go to the governor. And as the governor knows, I never go on script, so bear with me on this one. First of all, the projects that went over earlier today, I think it's important to reinforce to everybody here what has actually happened. And having had a first row seat for many years and seeing what this man has done, I can remember a time when we did not have support. We did not see some of the projects, some very lean times. If you add up what you saw on the screen, and I'll even add more to that, I believe we have seen somewhere in the area of $2 billion with a B in this region over the last 7 years. $2 billion. You add on ROC the Riverway, which is a $50 million pledge for this beautiful riverway right out to our left and your right. You add that on, and time again, the projects that have really come from his office really have helped transform and will transform this city and this region. And it has not always been this way. And I would have to say the term fake news gets used quite a bit. But when I hear that projects have been failures, that investments have been failures, I'm sorry to say, folks, if you think it's been a failure, come out and walk with the mayor. I walk downtown and walk one project to another. The issue many years ago, you could park anywhere in the city and have no trouble parking. The mayor knows right now parking is a premium. Why? Because there are people everywhere coming down. People walking dogs, businesses, employees. You see it everywhere. We are in the midst of a tremendous transformation. And with all the help that he's had, I give credit to the governor for what he has done time and time again, investing money here. Howard mentioned Buffalo. Buffalo didn't happen by accident. Buffalo is transforming. You see it, you feel it. It started with a pledge that he made many years ago to invest in Buffalo, and that really started that whole process going. You go and you see it now and see what that great city has done. It is phenomenal. And you look what's going on here and in this region. You mentioned all the companies. We have more companies coming here. Throw in American Packaging and many others. We have companies coming here, investments being made. And yes, sometimes some investments don't pan out. Not every business that goes into business stays in business. That's a natural economic reality. But the investments that this governor has made here, time and time again, have made a huge difference. We talk about the good old days, folks. We're living in the good old days right now. Because what we're seeing now, we have not seen in the past for a long, long time, if ever. And I would say this without any hesitation. No governor has put more money and more time, more emphasis in our region than this governor has. And I don't think he gets enough credit for it. And as I listen to Howard Zemsky go through project by project, keep those things in mind and walk around and see what is happening. Jobs are growing. People are coming here. I think tourism was mentioned. I had a meeting this morning with Don Jeffries. He was citing the millions and millions and millions of dollars coming into the city, county, and state just from taxes alone and revenue from tourism. And the most recent project, Howard mentioned, the Strong Museum, that is a #1 or #2 destination in Canada for people coming here from out of this country coming. So on behalf of all of us, Governor, I want to thank you for what you've done. I want to thank you for coming today and making this project real, for all the support you've given us. But I also want to say that you don't get credit for what you do. And I would urge you to keep telling people, because in politics, campaigning and governing are two different things. You can say what you want during a campaign. Governing means getting things done. Governing means making things happen. Governing means making decisions. And I can tell you, project after project, the ones you mentioned here, storms, even something as simple as after one of the big storms in the Adirondacks, in Keene Valley, a bridge was washed out. And that bridge separated people in that valley to 87 going back to Albany. And I remember a discussion where it would be somewhere between 4, 5, or 6 weeks to repair that bridge. I want to say that bridge was repaired in about 5 days. Why? Because somebody got behind it and made it happen. And folks, I'm telling you, you need somebody who is not afraid to get in, make tough decisions, who sees investments, makes it happen, and make sure he sees those things through. And I would say on behalf of Rochester and the Finger Lakes region, we are blessed to have the investments we have, and this place is growing really because of a lot of people here, but specifically I give credit to Governor Andrew Cuomo. So thank you so much, Governor. And now I invite you downstairs for the groundbreaking downstairs.